Hi, I'm John Tangri, and today we'll be talking about helping underwater homeowners get a successful short sale done with their very first buyer rather than go through the emotional roller coaster of finding a buyer and then losing one, and then finding a second one and then losing another one, and so on. In the last few years, on average, it's taken an inexperienced negotiator as many as 3 buyers and over 100 days to get a short sale done. Also, some underwater homeowners had to go through 2 or more real estate agents to finally finish a short sale. Still, in 2012, more than 51% of the underwater homeowners did a short sale versus just letting it foreclose. And that's up 20% from 2010. So as you can see, more and more buyers would want to and love to get a short sale done, but they're too stressed out or afraid that they might not get it done with their very first buyer. So what do? They look at the option and go, let's just forget it and let it go to a foreclosure. Unfortunately, that in reality is a big mistake to let it just foreclose. Why is that? Well, I'm going to share my knowledge with you based on my previous 15 years of experience as a financial planner and during the last 6 years as a national short sale pro with hundreds of successful short sales all over the country. Also, our underwater homeowners, what we do with them after the short sale is we help them rebuild their credit during the next 12 months. Now, before we dive into understanding how to successfully short sale your house with the very first buyer, I have a request. If you like what you see and it's helpful, please email it and share it with as many people as you know that are underwater and they're behind on their payments, or they're in the middle of a foreclosure process or have a foreclosure sale, so together we can help save their financial future. Soon you're going to see a couple of documents on your screen that would be best viewed with a full screen. So please do me a favor, click on the full screen icon in whatever program you're watching this on. Okay, so first, let's talk about why banks really do want you to short sell your house and why many are offering up to $3,000 cash and some are even offering up to $30,000 cash incentives in your pocket if you short sell your house. Well, the big reason is it's very expensive for banks to foreclose. On your screen, you're going to see a document called Summary Final Judgment. In this sample court document, you're going to see all the money that was lost by the bank, or specifically that was lost by the investors. If you've seen our previous video about mortgage principal reduction, then you know that the investors are the ones who actually own the mortgage and take the losses, and the banks are usually servicing these mortgages for the investor. Okay, back to the document. If you look at item C, which is advances for taxes, all the way down to item K, which is attorney fees, you'll see all the money that the banks lost item by item. In this particular case, you don't have to do the math. I'll let you know that number is $88,000. So in this particular case, the investor is going to have to pay $88,000 out of their pocket on top of the $188,000 of interest that they lost on this particular mortgage. So if you're the investor, what would you rather do? Exactly. You much rather short sale this as quickly as possible so you can cut your losses. On average, it takes a bank about 7 to 12% of the mortgage amount is the amount of losses that they take if they have to foreclose on a property. Now you see why the banks really do want you to go ahead and short sale, and why many are offering between $3,000 to up to $30,000 cash relocation incentives to you. That's a great first reason to do a short sale, isn't it? Now, besides being able to have a chance to get some of that cash in your pocket, what other reasons there might be to do a short sale? Well, the second reason you probably heard about 100 times is to save your credit. There's people out there who claim that if you do a short sale, they can save somewhere between 100 to 200 points on your credit versus just letting it foreclose. All I can tell you is based on my 6 years of experience as a national short sale pro, what I've found is it really depends on how many payments you're behind on your mortgage. In other words, the banks are going to continue to report the 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, 100-day late charges or late payments that you've made or not made to the credit bureaus, and that in turn will continue to lower your score whether you do a short sale or whether you do a foreclosure. In my experience, if you do a short sale, on average, you're going to save about 50 points or so. I know what you're thinking, that's it, 50 points? What I can tell you is that those 50 points become very important when you're trying to rebuild your credit, which in our case, after we do a short sale for our underwater homeowners, we help them during the next 12 months to go ahead and rebuild their credit, and you should do that as well if you're doing a short sale. So that's the second reason. Now the third reason is, I'm afraid you're not totally aware of the financial consequences of a foreclosure. Did you know that 5 years after your foreclosure, banks can come after you with something called a deficiency judgment? 5 years, and they can garnish wages and they can go after your assets. You ask, okay, what's a deficiency judgment? Okay, back on your screen is the same document we looked at before called Summary Final Judgment. If you go all the way down, you'll see it says $1.2 million. That's the judgment that the judge said that the homeowners owe to the bank. So let's say this sells at an auction for $400,000. That $800,000 difference, the bank can come after these homeowners for up to 5 years and get that $800,000, and they can include garnishing wages or going after the assets. Now, I know this is a high-end property, but let's say if it's $100,000 on your property or $200,000 on your property. Do you want to be worrying that in the next 5 years they might come after you for that amount? In our case, when we do a short sale for our clients, no deficiency judgment, period. We get that in writing from the bank saying either no deficiency judgment or that at the time of the short sale, it is a full and final payment of the mortgage. You don't ever have to look back of worrying about the bank coming after you 5 years down the road. Number 4 is when you go and apply for a car loan, car insurance, health insurance, life insurance, renter's insurance, home insurance, anything like that, with a foreclosure on your record, you're going to pay a much higher premium because guess what these insurance companies do? They look at, or banks do when it comes to loans, is they look at what kind of financial risk you are. And if you've got a foreclosure, when you had an opportunity to short sale it, guess what? They consider you as a financial risk, so therefore much higher premiums. And that could continue for as much as 7 years. Not a good place to be. Number 5 is when you go and apply for a job, whether it's banking, whether it's information technology, whether it's law enforcement, or whether it's security jobs like being able to sell stocks, bonds, mutual funds, life insurance, annuities, or it could be working for a federal government. Guess what? Or looking for clearances as well. If everything being alike or everything being the same, if there's 2 candidates for the same job and one has a foreclosure on their record which you have to disclose and the other one has a short sale, guess who as an employer you're going to give a job to? Yeah, the one with a short sale, because he managed his financial risk a lot better than just letting it foreclose. And 6th and final good reason to do a short sale is how long are you going to rent? Are you going to rent the rest of your life? Probably not. What happens is if you short sale, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will allow you to buy a property within 2 to 3 years versus having to wait 7 years if you just let it foreclose and just walked away from it. So there's 6 good reasons. Now, what I want to share with you is also is that if you just let it foreclose, you are on a slow and painful slide into a very difficult financial future. All I can tell you is every single person that I know that's a family member or a friend that has been underwater and has had to go through that very painful experience of not being able to hold on to their house, not being able to make those payments, has done a short sale. Now, before you do a short sale, I tell every underwater homeowner to put aside a 3 to 6 month period where they should go ahead and try a loan modification, principal reduction, refinancing, or any other option the bank is offering. But once you've exhausted all those options, go right for the short sale. Please don't procrastinate. I know all of us do it, procrastination, so do I. Just throw procrastination out the window and go for the short sale, because remember, every 30 days you're late, your credit score is getting worse and worse and worse. So, let's say now you decide to go ahead and do a short sale. Well, the most important step when you're doing a short sale and you want to get a successful short sale done with your very first buyer is, well, before I get there, I want to say something. Please never, ever pay for somebody to do your short sale. It should be free. We do not charge our clients a penny to do it, and it's better to make sure that you hire a good negotiator to get it done. And I'm going to talk about that right now, which is the most important step, is to find a real estate agent who is also a strong, experienced negotiator. Now, in states like Florida, California, Nevada, Arizona, Michigan, Illinois, states with very high foreclosure rates, up to 30% of the up to 30% of the sales can be short sales. So, it's very natural for an agent to say, yeah, I do short sales. Don't hire an amateur, because it's the same example that I use is, for example, if I or you have to get surgery, are we going to go look for the best specialist in that particular area of surgery? Or are we going to just let somebody who's done surgery for 10 hours and maybe with the help of a head surgeon to go ahead and do that surgery for us? Same thing over here. So when you look for a real estate agent, it has to be a strong, experienced negotiator. And here's the reason why. There's two kinds of negotiators in the short sale business. Number one is what we call in our industry paper pushers. All they do is take your paperwork, send it to the bank, and do absolutely nothing when it comes to negotiating the mortgage terms. Now, these are the kind of people that I hear about that frustrate a lot of homeowners, because these homeowners continue to lose buyer after buyer after buyer, and you do not want to be in that position, because you do have a better choice. The second kind of negotiator is the one who will go to the bank and they will negotiate the terms on your behalf. For example, let's say the bank comes back with what's called an estimated appraisal. The exact term for that is broker's price opinion, or BPO, which is much higher than what the actual value of the property is. Well, a good negotiator, a strong negotiator, will literally go back to the bank and make sure that the bank's counteroffer is in line with the buyer's offer. And that's very, very important. I can tell you, for us, we are very successful at doing that. And the reason is that during my 15 years as a financial planner, I got to know a lot of bank executives at a lot of banks. In fact, I know over 20 banks. I know the vice president of short sales, or they call them vice presidents of non-performing assets, at banks like Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, SunTrust, Citi Mortgage, Ally, or formerly GMAC, NationStar, and a lot of these other places. So what happens is, let's say a file is not moving quickly enough, or we're getting an unreasonably high counteroffer from the bank. All we have to do is send an email or make a phone call to this vice president of the bank that we know, and usually within 72 hours, we either get the file escalated or we get a short sale approval letter. Now, how important is that to you? Our clients find that enormously valuable. And again, by the way, we insist on no deficiency judgment. So, that's the reason why you want to make sure that you hire a very good, experienced short sale negotiator who's also a real estate agent. Now, I want to address two concerns that I hear from underwater homeowners all the time when it comes to investors, how to dealing with investors who want to help you out. In 2008, with the mortgage mess, the federal government passed SAFE Act, which was to kind of protect the mortgage fraud and also to deal with mortgage broker licensing as well. A lot of states instituted those programs in 2010, and specifically in Florida, we have a law that was passed. Now, on your screen, you're going to see the 2012 Florida law and a list of who can negotiate the mortgage on your behalf and is exempt from the mortgage broker's license. Besides a homeowner and of course a licensed mortgage broker, a licensed attorney or a real estate agent can negotiate on your behalf, but not an investor. They cannot negotiate. Now, this morning I was talking to the supervisor of complaint departments at the Florida Division of Consumer Finance, and what she specifically said was that they are now requiring that these investors register with them, and they want not only the investors but also their companies to have a mortgage license. If you have a question, you can call the complaint department at Florida Division of Consumer Finance at 850-487-9687 and then hit 1 and then hit 1 again. Some of these investors are trying to be very smart and saying that under paragraph 2, item E, which is highlighted on this document, that they don't really need a license. Well, not true at all. What I would suggest is ask these investors, if you do sit down with one, is to ask them simply, are you going to use your own money to negotiate my mortgage and then pay for this house? And if they say yes, all you have to do is say, okay, on your smartphone, can you show me which bank account you actually have this cash sitting in? If they say no, or they give you some excuse, just walk away. The second concern I want to address about investors is I'm getting a lot of underwater homeowners who've called up and said, look, we've signed a deed over. And I'm like, what? Somehow these investors have actually convinced these homeowners to sign over the deed or sign some other notarized documents or get into what they call a subject to contract. Please remember this. Never, ever, ever sign your deed over to your house or sign any of the notarized documents or sign a subject to contract with the investors. Now, I'm short on time, so if you have any questions about investors or if you have any questions about the subject to contract or signing over your deed, just call my office and we'll answer those questions for you. I also want to point out that if you have a summary final judgment hearing coming up, or if you have a foreclosure sale date set, please call our office right now, because not only can we start a short sale within 72 hours, we can also help stop that foreclosure sale date and give you an opportunity to stay in your house a few more months, and of course that chance to get the relocation incentive, the ones that was $3,000 to $30,000 that the banks are offering. Now, I know I've covered a lot, so I'm going to give you my 5 suggestions to get a successful short sale done with the very first buyer. Number 1, make sure that you hire a strong, experienced negotiator who's also a real estate agent. There's a few of them out there, but remember the surgery example that I was giving you. You want to deal with somebody who's done 100 of these versus somebody who's done 10, maybe with the help of some other people. Number 2, please never ever sign your deed over or sign any notarized documents or subject to with an investor. Number 3, when you're in the middle of a short sale, in that process, please, when you get a request for a document, do not wait more than 48 hours to provide it with whomever you're working. Otherwise, your file will be put on pause, and then it's going to delay everything else. Number 4, I know this is a very difficult time for you, but please relax, enjoy yourself, and let your trusted negotiator take care of the short sale for you. And 5, of course, if you feel overwhelmed, just call our office and we'll set up a 30-minute free consultation and see if we can help you and your family get some peace of mind. Now, I'm going to go back to the original part or the earlier part of the video where I asked a request from you, which is if you like and if you find this very helpful, please email it or share it with as many people as you know who are underwater and they're behind on their payments or in the middle of a foreclosure process, or have a foreclosure sale date set so we can help save their financial future. Good luck. I hope you have an enjoyable day, and thank you so much for spending time with me today.